Okay, let's continue. Two more from section 1.2. Remember, your tests will be exactly in this order, same directions, same number of problems, just different problems. All right, on number 7, it's a nice linear form. So we're going to start by moving our x's back over to the left, our constants over to the right. I'm going to combine the x's. 3x's minus 1x is 2x. 7 plus 5 is 12. After dividing both sides by 2, we're going to end up with an x of 6. On this number 8, we're going to have to build the least common denominator, but first we have to factor. This third term has a type 1 trinomial in the denominator. It actually factors into x minus 2 and x plus 1. And again, we've already reviewed factoring, so you can factor that using the trial and error method or the method we showed in class. But let's build our least common denominator. You look at the first term and say, I've got to be able to eliminate an x minus 2. So I'm going to include that in my least common denominator. Then you forget about that piece. Go on to the second. In order to clean up or eliminate the x plus 1 in the denominator there, cancel it out, we're going to have to add an x plus 1 to our least common denominator. Then you forget about the second term. Then you go to the third. In order to cancel the denominator in my third term, I've got to have an x minus 2 and an x plus 1. I already have that, so that is my least common denominator. When I multiply the first piece by the least common denominator, the x minus 2's cancel, and we've got 3 times x plus 1. When I multiply the second term by the least common denominator, the x plus 1's cancel, so I'm going to be left with the 1 and the x minus 2. When I multiply the third term by the least common denominator, the entire denominator cancels, so we're left with 1. Now we can just distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times x is x. And 1 times negative 2 is minus 2. I'm going to clean up by combining the like terms on the left-hand side. 3x's and 1x will give me 4x. 3 and a negative 2 will be a plus 1. I'm going to go ahead and isolate the x's by moving the 1 over to the other side. So we get 4x is equal to 0. To solve for x, I'll divide both sides by 4. So we get an x of 0. Number 9. It is an investment problem when we talked about how there will be money back guaranteed. There's going to be an investment problem on your exam. So you have $125,000 to invest. One in an account, that pays 10% interest. A second investment that pays 12% interest. If in 1 year you earn a total of $13,700, how much money was invested in each account at each rate? Well, start off by breaking the money up into two parts, x and 125,000 minus x. Next, I'll assign each piece of money an interest rate, 10% and 12%. To find the interest on each investment, I multiply the interest rate times the amount of money, 0.1 times x, and 0.12 times the 125,000 minus x. Remember, this is the interest on the first investment. This is the interest on the second investment. I need to add them together so that they add up to the total that I got in interest at the end of the year, which was $13,700. I'm going to start by distributing the 0.12 into my parentheses. We have 0.1x plus 0.12 times 125,000. And I get 15,000. 0.12 times negative x, negative 0.12x, equals 13,700. I'm going to go ahead and combine the x's and move the 15,000 over to the other side. So let's see, that's going to be a negative 0.02x after I combine 0.1x and negative 0.12x. On the other side, 13,700 minus 15,000 is negative 1,300. After dividing both sides by negative 0.02, we're going to end up with an x value of 65,000. Well, if one part of the money is 65,000, to get the other part, I'm going to say, well, what is 125 minus 65,000? And that's how you get the other part, the other investment of 60,000. Number 10, Alma found out that the length of her rectangular closet was 3 feet less than twice the width. If it has a perimeter of 54 feet, find the dimensions of the closet. Well, it's a rectangular closet, so we always give ourselves the first side. For the other side, I'm going to read that first statement again. The length of her closet was 3 feet less than. I'm going to subtract 3 from something. 3 feet less than twice the width. Well, twice the width would now be 2x. It's a rectangle, so if this side is x, so is this side. If this side is 2x minus 3, so is this side. Now, the only other piece of information that they gave us is that the perimeter of the closet was 54 feet. Since it's 54 feet, I'm going to start here and add the 4 sides together. And that is the perimeter, which we know is 54. I'm going to underline the 4 sides just so that you know that that's what we did. Cleaning it up, I get 6x minus 6 is equal to 54. I'll start by moving the negative 6 over to the other side. So we have 6x is equal to 60, and I can quickly solve by dividing both sides by 6. X will be equal to 10. That's this side. To get the other side, all I have to do is plug in 2 times x, which we know is 10, minus 3. That's 20 minus 3, or 17. My closet is 10 feet by 17. The next one, we have 6 quadratics. I indicate the method that you should use, but you can actually use any method you like, and as long as you show your work, you're going to be fine. The first one is indicating to use factoring. So I'm going to start off by moving the 8 back over to the left-hand side. I'm going to end up with x squared plus 7x minus 8 equals 0. I'm going to factor it. It is a type 1, so I'll quickly open up my 2 parentheses. Factors of x squared are going to be x and x. For the factors of negative 8, I'm going to use 1 and 8 or 2 and 4. Since I'm trying to make a positive 7 out of my middle term, into my middle term, I'm going to use a negative 7 and a positive 8 there. That's how I get it to add up to positive 7x. So negative 1 and positive 8 go in here. Now I can set each one of my factors equal to 0. This is going to give me an x of positive 1, and this is going to give me an x of negative 8. All right, to solve by the square root method, now I'm going to use the method indicated, but you can also clean this back up and turn it back into a standard quadratic and solve it using any method you like. Now, for the square root method, I just have to make sure that the squared term is isolated, and he is. Now I will take the square root of both sides. On the left, the square root and the square cancel, so the x minus 2 comes straight down. On the right-hand side, because we physically took the square root of both sides, we do get plus and minus. The square root of 9 is 3, but because there was a negative underneath there, I'll tack on an I. Last step, to get the x isolated, I'm going to move the negative 2 over to the other side. He's going to turn into a positive 2. Don't forget it goes in front of the plus or minus. And that's it. I'll see you in the last video.